This picture of the shoes they are supposed to make when they sneak into my shop.
They what?
They sneak, yeah?
Oh, sneak.
Yeah, this is the picture, and this is the scale. 1 to 2.
So we followed it. Big deal.
It's an ugly shoe anyway.
That's right, Hans. Now look, this is a good-looking little number. Hans, what do you want, Hans?
I want you to get it right, yeah? Look at the scale. 1 to 2. The shoe is supposed to be 2 times the size of the picture.
Oh, so that's what that means.
You're glad we got that settled.
We gotta go back.
Oh,
no.
wait, just a moment. I understand there were some shoes actually made.
Some. 99, hundreds. Yeah, and they didn't follow the scale.
So, take us to small claims. Ha! Sue us.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm doing, suing you, yeah?
So we got it backwards.
We thought 1 to 2 meant 1/2 the size of the picture.
Yeah, no big deal.
Yes, but a big mistake. Now, a scale is a very useful thing if you understand it. On a map, for instance, 1 inch can represent 100 miles, so you know how far apart things are. In the case of this picture, it will help you make the right size shoe. For every 1 inch on the shoe picture, you make 2 inches of shoe. Now, if it was supposed to be smaller, it would have been a 2 to 1 scale.
Yeah. Well, nevertheless, the shoe was supposed to be this size. If they follow the scale, yeah, 2 times the size of the picture.
That's a big ugly shoe, Hans, and nobody would wear that shoe.
Now, elves, now that you understand the scale, will you please fix this mistake?
Well, let me see here. Scale. 1 inch represents 2 inches on the scale. Okay.
Sure.
We can do it.
No problem.
Change them all over to the right size tomorrow.
Yeah, well, why wouldn't you do it for me the first time I asked you?
Why, you didn't say please.
He said please.
Politeness counts with an elf.
That's right.
Yeah, well, what am I supposed to do with 5,000 tiny little shoes?
Open a tiny little shoe store.
Hey, now it's time for Comedy Right Now with special guest comic Rodney Landmine.
Spotlight, please. Thank you. I'm telling you, folks, I got no perspective. No perspective. You know, I'm always seeing things the wrong way. Like yesterday, I walked up to my friend Ernie. I slapped him on the back and I say, "Hey, Ernie, that's a beautiful red shirt you're wearing." Ernie screams, jumps in the air, double-double with the pain, and says, "Hey, I'm not wearing a shirt. That's sunburn." I know you're out there. I can hear you breathing. Anyway, I get no perspective, I'm telling you. Today I rolled out of bed, decided to brush my teeth. Went for my toothbrush, and I'm telling you, it was only this big. 1 inch at the longest. So I go for the toothpaste. Turns out the toothpaste is even smaller. So I says to myself, "Hey, self, I know we're trying to save on money, but this is ridiculous." Am I interrupting your sleep out there? Anyway, folks, so seriously, I got this crazy idea. It's like they changed the scale of the whole world, and somebody forgot to tell me about it. Hey, cool it. That's not the joke. Sorry, we got a new kid drummer here. He's got no sense of humor. Doesn't realize that the most important thing about comedy is timing. Thank you. So I decided to brush my teeth, right? And I'm brushing my teeth. Going like this. Yeah, you're a little late there. And I'm feeling really stupid doing this, you know? Hey, what do they do? Pay you by the rim shot? So I decide to lead him to the sink, and it turns out the sink is as big as my nose, so I know they're trying to play a crazy trick on me. It's like they decided to reduce the universe to 1/8 its regular size. And in the middle of this, my daughter walks into the room, and she says in a really loud voice, "Hey, Ma, what's Dad doing on the floor with his head stuck inside my dollhouse?" Hey, why don't you get up here and try to be funny, huh?
Why don't you?
Hey, this isn't an audience, it's an oil painting. Yeah, folks. So I'd rolled out of bed and crawled into the dollhouse without knowing it. I'm telling you, I get no perspective. It's a good thing my daughter came when she did, though, because I was starting to think about taking a bath. What do you want me to do with these, knit? Thanks very much, folks. Thanks, both of you.
about to see is a fib, but it's short. The names are made up, but the problems are real.
9:43 a.m. and dry in Los Angeles for a change after the torrential rain sent the mud cascading down the hills to squelch the canyon brush fires. We were working on a series of robberies being committed by an escaped gorilla named Grunt. My partner is George Franklin. The boss is Thad Green. My name is Monday. I'm a mathematician. We decided to look at a couple of scenes from yesterday's show to refresh our memories. When solving a problem, it's good to make sure you haven't missed something, even a little something. Jane told us that gorillas don't walk on their hind legs. So when Pi Balboa, the pizza store owner, told us he had footprints to show us, Jane said,
"That's just it. Gorillas don't really walk on their hind legs like they do in the movies. They walk on all fours. So there'd be sets of four prints."
But then a phone call really threw a monkey wrench into our case.
MathNet, frankly. Are you sure? What time was that? Uh-huh. Was he out of breath? I see. Then it must not have been he. Thank you. Crime in Entlease.
What?
Our gorilla was spotted at 10:05. He was picking oranges in the backyard of a house on Scenic Drive in that new project. You know, the step development in the Hollywood Hills? The lady yelled and the monkey left.
Now, there's no way one gorilla could be in two places at the same time. So what does that tell us?
Grunt has an accomplice.
George, we're dealing with two gorillas.
We've checked every zoo in a 3-state area, and all of their gorillas are present and accounted for.
So where did the second gorilla come from?
It's a mystery. Any ideas, Jane?
Nuh-uh, but the last one sounds like Grunt.
What do you mean?
The lady scared him and he ran away. That's what I've been trying to tell you.
Kate, I was just thinking. Remember what you said in Monday's episode?
That was a long time ago, George. I said a number of things.
I mean about the gorilla, remember? You said it might be a man dressed in a gorilla suit.
But I was wrong. Grunt is missing from the zoo. Maybe it was Grunt and a man in a gorilla suit. George, try Fox Costumes and see if anybody has rented a gorilla suit in the past week.
Right.
Debbie, check your files and see if we have a record of a person or persons committing crimes while wearing unusual costumes.
What can I do?
Accept my apology. I should have been listening to you more carefully all along, Jane. I'm sorry. I think you know more about solving this problem than we do.
Don't be too hard on yourself.
Thank you.
Kate, the gorilla suit was rented this past weekend. The guy said it was for a party.
A party?
Uh-huh. Some sort of church fundraiser. The fellow who rented it goes by the name of Janos Prokedzian.
Janos Prokedzian.
Does the name ring a bell?
I know who it is. Janos Prokedzian is the man who gave Grunt to the zoo.
He gave him to the zoo?
Janos used to be a circus performer. He and Grunt were partners.
What were they, stand-up comics? Clowns? Song and lurch team?
Janos and Grunt used to juggle.
Juggle what?
Janos, mostly. Anyway, the circus went belly up.
While they were juggling?
They went broke, and Janos didn't know what to do with his gorilla, so he found a good home for him at the L.A. Zoo.
Well, that ties the two of them together. But I don't know what that means. Maybe we should pay a call on Janos Prokedzian. Jane, you wait here. Let's roll. We got Janos' address from Fox Costumes and paid him a visit. No one home, George.
Notice anything unusual, Kate? In the air, I mean?
Uh-huh.
Let's go around back. It's either a wild animal or a plumbing problem.
What do you think, George?
It's like a broken wild animal cage.
I think you're exactly right.
Let's play What If.
What's what if?
It's a way of using facts to make logical guesses. Now, what do we know for sure?
There are two gorillas, or one man in a gorilla suit and one gorilla.
What if the man is Janos Prokedzian?
I see what you're doing. Okay, well, what if Grunt didn't really escape from the zoo?
But Grunt did escape from the zoo.
We don't know that, Debbie. No one saw him escape.
Right. So what if Janos let Grunt out of his cage?
Right. Grunt would go with Janos. He would remember him.
Uh-huh. And what if Janos locked him in that cage at his house?
But why would he do that?
What if Janos wanted everybody to think that a really ferocious gorilla was committing all the crimes, when it was really Janos in the suit all the time?
That wouldn't explain the map.
What do you mean?
Look at all those sightings. Dozens and dozens of them. We don't know for sure they were all caused by our twosome.
But we know that only one gorilla is missing.
And we know that Janos rented the gorilla suit.
Let's keep working on this together. It's one of the best ways to solve problems. What if he used Grunt on some of the crimes and dressed up in the suit for the other ones?
But what if he didn't use Grunt?
What do you mean?
What if Janos kept Grunt locked up and committed all the crimes himself? He could have done it by robbing a store and jumping into his car.
We haven't any reports of gorillas driving cars around.
He could have taken the head off and put a coat on. No one would have noticed him.
Right. Some of the managers of the store said he ran out the back. He could have had a car parked in the alley.
And what if Grunt escaped?
From Janos, you mean? Sure. Look at the map. These reports and this cluster are robberies.
Yes, George. And these are reports of sighting where the gorilla was scared away.
And they're all within the same area.
And here's Janos' house. They're within a small radius of the place where Grunt might have escaped.
If we're right, and we don't know that we are, but if our hunches are right, we've got to cover this area with our units.
I'll bet we're right. Grunt got away from Mr. Porkezzi, and he's out there wandering around loose, and he's very scared. We have to get him before something awful happens to him.
Don't worry, Jane, we will. George, organize our special forces.
Right.
Debbie, call the zoo. Have them send some attendants up here with a big truck and some nets.
Right.
But what can I do?
I told you. Accept my apologies.
Mathnet Williams. Yes. Really? That is fantastic news.
Another sighting?
Yes, and you're going to love this one. The gorilla has come home to roost.
What do you mean?
That was the L.A. Zoo. Grunt is back in his cage.
Yay!
Well, Jane, I guess you can go to the zoo and welcome your friend back home.
I'll say, he's one smart gorilla. He found his way back to his home away from home. See you later. Grunt would never forgive me if I forgot Faye.
I'll bet.
Mathnet, Frankly. Where? I see. We'll be right there. I think we're going to get two gorillas with one stone.
What?
Another sighting. Janos Porkezzian is climbing up the Hollywood sign.
Call the SWAT team. Let's go get that phony gorilla.